other 3 cameras, however, remained completely operational, and so the NIDS group turned to them to find out just what had happened. Fortunately, one of them had been pointed directly at one of the sabotaged cameras. The investigators immediately replayed the video from the time that they believed the vandalism had occurred. But incredibly, as they watched the footage, they could see absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Perplexed, the researchers sent the tape to a lab in Las Vegas to have it digitally enhanced. The enhancement revealed the red recording lights on the damaged cameras, and this proved to be important, because the footage indicated that all 3 affected cameras had switched off simultaneously at 8:30 p.m. But still, there was no perpetrator to be seen. The only conclusion the NIDS researchers could draw was that whoever had damaged the cameras was endowed with the power to render themselves invisible. One person who had no trouble believing this incredible theory was Terry Sherman, for this was not the first time he had witnessed the camouflage ability of the skinwalkers inhabiting his ranch. Both he and his son had seen it firsthand in 1996, shortly after the Sherman story was published in the Deseret News, and just as paranormal enthusiasts were beginning to take note. One such enthusiast arrived unannounced at their door in June of that year, asking to spend time and meditate on the ranch. Terry was slightly amused by the request, so he went ahead and gave permission, thinking that nothing would come of it.
Picking a pristine pasture near the woods, the man began to meditate just as he had said. He stood in the middle of the clearing, raised his hands toward the heavens, and with his eyes closed tight, began to focus on his inward being. While he was deep in this trance-like state, a sudden violent rustling of trees came from the woods. The man, lost in his meditation, did not seem to notice, but the Shermans watched the disturbance with increasing alarm. To their astonishment, they saw an almost completely invisible figure emerge from the trees. Due to a strange, pixelated effect, as if sunlight was being directed around it, the entity was so blurry that they could just barely make out its outline as it crossed the field in broad daylight. As they watched in stunned silence, the camouflage being picked up speed and ran straight toward the meditating visitor. Before anyone could quite process what was happening, the entity stopped right in front of the visitor and erupted into a roar of aggression. The meditating man fell to the ground in shock at what he was seeing and hearing. After the deafening roar, the semi-invisible entity simply turned around and ran back into the woods from whence it had come.
Coincidentally enough, Terry and his son watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jesse Ventura film, Predator just a few months later and was struck by similarity between this real-life entity's capability and that of the fictional character in the film. In the movie, the alien predator uses an advanced cloaking device to make itself invisible. Were the entities on Skinwalker Ranch utilizing a similar technology? Is that how they managed to dismantle 3 complex surveillance stations without being seen and without being recorded on the remaining cameras? It just might be, because scientists now believe that such means of camouflage is not as far-fetched as previously thought. Researchers all over the planet are currently perfecting methods of bending sunlight over objects in order to render them invisible. If we are beginning to master this technology ourselves, then it should not surprise us that another, far more advanced intelligence would have developed such capabilities as well. Perhaps it was such advanced technology that made it so easy for the paranormal denizens of Skinwalker Ranch to stay one step ahead of Bigelow and his associates.